Welcome to the weekly share of the Zera Shimshon. It's now Daled Tammuz, Tavshin Pei Gimel, and this will be a short one this week because I have a segula this week, believe it or not. Okay, the blessing his nation with peace. So Al Kain Yomar B'Sefer Milchamos Hashem Es Vahei B'Sufa. Pasuk Chaf Aleph Yud. So concerning this, it is told in the account of the wars of Hashem, what he gave us at the Sea of Reed, or Yam Suf. Anyway, that's one translation. There's other translations. Another way to translate these words suggests the Gemara in Kiddushin and Daf Lamed Omid Beis. When a father and a son, or a teacher and a student, learn Torah together, Gemara together, and they get into a heated argument. In the end, that is B'Sufa, B'Soifa, there is a great love, that's vahev, ahava, between them. This gives us insight into another verse. Hashem will give might, Hashem oiz amayitain, right? Hashem will bless his nation with peace. Hashem yivorech es amay ba'asholem. And it's a pasuk in Tilim, and that's Chaf Tes. The entire Torah is filled with questions and differences of opinion, and disputes between the Talmidei Chachamim are inevitable. The dissent between Torah scholars such as Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel are a major component of the Gemara. There isn't one page in the Gemara that doesn't have an argument. It's funny that the Gemara quotes that the parak, there's one whole parak that doesn't have a machlekes. That's the fifth parak of Zvachim, Ezu Neshech. That's why we say it in the morning, to bring peace and tranquility to the world before we daven. Anyway, because that's the only parak in the entire Shas that doesn't have a machlekes between the Tanoim. So, did Hashem give us to give His nation a gift that will cause contention among them all the time? In other words, we're always arguing. The verse in Tehillim explains how this could be. When we read the verse differently, Hashem gives us the Torah, gave us the Torah, which is the ois, right? Yet at the same time, He gave us a bracha that even when there are arguments about the Torah, amongst the Talmidei Chachamim, they will cause peace between people and not chas v'sholom machlekes. That's from the Zera Shimshon in our Parshat Ois Yud Gimel. That's why we say in the end of the davening, Talmidei Chachamim marbim sholem ba'olam, right? The Talmidei Chacham don't bring more a machlekes in the world. They bring more peace because they can compromise and come to a conclusion that everybody can agree with. Okay, so here's it says the Segula. As Yidden who believe in the Rebbeinu Shalom, it is obvious that he directs us to the precise spot where we need to be every second of our lives. Sometimes we understand that we are needed to be there, sometimes not, but there's no question that every move is orchestrated from above. A relative called Rabbi Noman Pashkes on the 8th of Tammuz, 5766, that's 2016, and related the following incident. I was up in the mountains on the 8th of Tammuz exactly 1 year ago, he began, and I went into a shul to learn. On one of the tables I saw a sight of a sefer Zera Shimshon. At the end of the latest edition, there is a section with stories about things that happened to people who learned the sefer. I read the stories in fascination, impressed by the diversity of people's personal testimonies of Yeshua's. There were health-related stories and stories about Parnasa, but the majority of the stories revolved around families davening to be blessed with children. On the spot, I decided that I too would join the ranks of the thousands who were already part of the Zera Shimshon movement and would begin learning the sefer every Shabbos morning before davening for 1 year's time. I began my Seder that Shabbos, and before I started learning, I said, I'm learning the Ilui Nishmas, the Mechaber of the Sefer, Rabbeinu Shimshon Chaim ben Rab Nachman Mechoel. Okay, may it be your will, Rebbeinu Shalom, that the words that he wrote in the introduction to his Sefer come true in the three categories that he mentioned: children, health, and Parnasa. Rabbi Binyamin, his relative, his voice was filled with emotion. I want you to know that my daughter was born today. that my daughter was born today on the 8th day of Tammuz, exactly 1 year from the moment that I first came across the Sefer and decided to learn it seriously. Binyamin was, of course, extremely touched by the story, but his relative wasn't finished yet. I want to tell you one more thing, he said. During the months leading up to the birth, we went to the doctor for an examination, and he told us that it looked as though there were some serious complications with the baby. The moment I heard the doctor's words, I was makabel on myself to donate money toward the publication of the Zera Shimshon. We returned to the doctor a week later. He examined my wife again, and this time his face was first puzzled and then filled with relief. Good news, he said. The problem I was worried about last time seems to have been completely disappeared without a trace. Everything is fine. Rabbi Binyamin, he concluded joyfully, Baruch Hashem, the baby was born today and is completely healthy. 1 year to the day I started learning. The 8th of Tammuz. Anyway, everybody have a wonderful Shabbos, and may you be blessed with children and health and parnasa. Be'ez Hashem.